The sun was dipping low over the sprawling plains, painting the horizon in shades of gold and fire, when Emily first saw him, leaning casually against the worn hood of a dusty red pickup. A wide-brimmed cowboy hat shadowing his chiseled features, and eyes that seemed to hold secrets deeper than the canyons behind him. She had come to this small, forgotten town looking for nothing more than a quiet summer escape, a break from the constant rush of her life in the city, but from the moment she laid eyes on him, everything changed. He moved with the kind of calm confidence that only comes from knowing your place in the world, every step deliberate, every gesture precise, and yet there was a softness in the way he glanced at the horizon, a hint of loneliness that tugged at something deep inside her. Emily couldn't help but stare, trying to read him like a book she wanted desperately to understand but feared she never could. He was, by all appearances, just a drifter, a cowboy passing through, someone who belonged to the wide open land rather than any heart or home. But there was a magnetism about him that made the world around her fade into nothing but a blur of golden dust and windswept grass. Over the next few days, their paths crossed again and again, in the local diner where he quietly sipped his black coffee, in the dusty general store where he exchanged a few words with the old shopkeeper, and by the riverbank where she found herself sketching the landscape, only to feel his presence like a shadow beside her. She learned his name was Luke, that he spoke little and smiled even less, that he seemed to carry the weight of years she couldn't begin to imagine. And yet, despite the quiet tension that hung between them like an unspoken promise, Emily felt a connection she had never felt before, a pull that made her heart race and her thoughts stumble. One evening, as the sky turned violet and the first stars blinked awake, she finally found herself beside him on the tailgate of his truck, the air thick with the scent of leather, dust, and wildflowers. She asked him the question that had been burning in her mind since the moment she saw him, why he seemed so distant, so untouchable. Luke leaned back, tipping his hat against the sky, and for a long moment, he didn't answer. Then, in a voice roughened by years and silence, he revealed the truth: he wasn't a drifter at all. He owned nearly half the state, vast ranches, rivers, and fields stretching beyond what most could even imagine. But wealth hadn't brought him joy, it had brought him isolation. He hadn't loved in years because he feared losing himself, feared that opening his heart would mean losing control of the empire he had built. His honesty struck Emily in a way that no words ever had. She realized that behind the rugged exterior, the stoic demeanor, and the intense gaze, was a man who had sacrificed everything for responsibility, for duty, and now stood alone, haunted by the life he had chosen. And yet, in that moment, she felt something shift, not pity, but understanding, a recognition that he was just as human as she was, craving connection, craving someone brave enough to step into the storm with him. Over the next days, Emily and Luke's bond deepened in ways that surprised them both. She saw the gentle side of him, the way he cared for the animals on his ranch, the way he lingered over small details, the way he laughed softly when she teased him about being so serious all the time. And he saw her strength, her courage, the spark of adventure that matched the wide-open sky he had always called home. Together, they shared quiet breakfasts on the porch of his ranch house, long rides through sun-baked fields, and nights by the fire under the vast canopy of stars, where words weren't necessary, and the silence itself spoke volumes. Emily's presence began to soften the walls he had built around his heart, reminding him of emotions he had thought were lost forever: hope, joy, and the dizzying thrill of falling for someone completely. But as the days passed, an unspoken tension lingered, the kind that comes from knowing life outside this bubble wouldn't be forgiving. Emily's world wasn't the wide-open plains, it was bustling streets, office lights, and obligations that could never be ignored. And Luke's empire, while majestic and freeing in some ways, demanded solitude and sacrifice that few could endure. One evening, under a sky streaked with crimson, Luke finally admitted the fear he had carried for years, that loving someone like Emily could destroy the delicate balance of the life he had built. She, in turn, revealed her own doubts, the hesitation that comes with wanting something so fiercely yet knowing it might cost her everything she has ever known. But then, with a gentle courage that only true love can inspire, Emily took his calloused hand in hers and told him that some risks are worth taking, that some walls are meant to crumble when someone arrives who sees your soul, not just your wealth. In that moment, the dusty plains seemed to shimmer, as if acknowledging the turning point in their lives. Luke's gaze softened, the shadows on his face melting away, and he realized that he didn't have to carry the world alone anymore, not when someone like Emily was willing to stand beside him. They didn't need grand declarations or sweeping gestures, their love was quiet, steadfast, and unwavering, a force that needed no spotlight. By the end of the summer, the town had grown quiet again, but Emily and Luke's connection had grown into something neither of them could deny. She had come expecting a summer escape, and he had expected solitude, but together they had discovered a truth more powerful than either could have imagined, that love, even after years of absence, could awaken the heart, heal the soul, and transform a life. And as they rode together across the endless plains, the golden sun sinking behind them, Emily realized that sometimes the man who seems like just a passing shadow in your life can turn out to be the one who holds the key to your heart. Luke, the drifter cowboy who had owned half the state but loved no one, had finally found someone who saw him for who he truly was, and Emily had found a love she never thought she would experience. And for the viewers watching this story unfold, remember this: life is unpredictable, love can come from the most unexpected places, and sometimes, the people who seem the most untouchable are the ones who need you the most. Don't miss a moment of stories like this. Subscribe to the channel now, hit the notification bell, and join us for more tales of love, courage, and heart-stopping moments that will stay with you forever. Because every story deserves to be lived, and every heart deserves a chance to be touched.